Welcome back to the boat cheat. We're here in Lowestoft at the moment. We've taken a couple of days delay in Lowestoft owing to weather. Just suitable conditions to get where we were going didn't present themselves. We wanted to go to Wells next to the sea, but that's proving to be impossible. Unfortunately, all of the anchorages and ports along the North Norfolk coast require winds that are the more prevailing winds from the southwest, so we can't use them. So we've taken the decision to, rather than wait, just to head straight for Whitby, which is about 153 nautical miles or 175 or so statute miles. We want to make sure we arrive for the noon tide, or it's around noon, so that we end up entering in daylight, because we'll be tired, and the bridge that lets us into the inner harbour only operates at high tide plus or minus 2 hours, which gives us a window from about 10 o'clock to about 2 o'clock where we have to be arriving in Whitby. So we're aiming to arrive a few hours before that because it's much easier to slow down than it is to speed up, and we need to keep a good close eye on our progress, so we're going to create what's called a how goes it. And I thought you'd just like to see how we do this and what tool we use to do a how goes it when it's quite a complex plan. For routes where the arrival time is not critical, I don't tend to do this because in any case we rarely actually sail the plan because conditions don't allow it. However, sometimes, like on this trip, you have to ensure that you keep up with progress in order to make a gate for arrival, be it a tidal gate or a bridge limiting time or anything else that stops you getting where you want to go without restriction. Because I use Navionics for planning, the method I use for my how goes it is all based on Navionics data, and therefore it's not a complete navigation plan, and I must stress this is not the be-all and end-all way of doing it. It's just the way we do it, the way that I find works for me. So having done my detailed plan, big picture and little picture stuff, I then open up the data from the finalised plan and I use that data to create my how goes it. The first part of this process is very simple. I simply take the track and total distance from the start and enter it for each waypoint throughout the route. We're doing this to try and achieve the goal of monitoring our progress towards our destination to make sure we're not going to be horribly late or indeed horribly early. So we need to have the data about the tracks to start with, and then we need the tide data. So we'll get the track data put in first, just tracks and distances, and then we go through and cycle through the route and making sensible judgments based on the nearest tide data point, we enter the tidal direction and speed for each hour. And I tend to use the half hour between each hourly check. So at 8 o'clock, I'm looking at the data from 7:30 and so on. In order to find out which tide arrow to use, we need to know how far down route we are, so we start by entering the total distance remaining from the start and the boat speed, and that way, as we complete each leg, the distance down route that we've travelled will fill in and update, and we'll have a better chance of getting the best tide arrow. Some judgment is required as to which is the nearest tide arrow, but even if you get it wrong by one arrow, it really doesn't make a great deal of difference to the overall plan. I then enter this data into the columns for tide direction and tide speed for 30 minutes after I've taken the data. So for 7:30 I'm putting it in at the 8 o'clock box, the 8:30 data goes into the 9 o'clock boxes and so on. I complete this for the whole route. And the spreadsheet does the rest. What we're left with here is a set of times, and if you look at the columns on the right, you can see the summary bit which we use to go to the logbook. So we can see times of day, and alongside each hourly check we have the total distance to run that's estimated. Against that we can record our actual distance to destination and keep a good track of whether progress is such that we'll arrive at a suitable time at our destination. Hope you found that useful. Don't forget, click like, subscribe and hit that bell icon if you want to know next time we post a video. Come back soon to the boat cheat.